Good morning. My name is Peter Gloor. I'm a research scientist at the MIT Center for Collective Intelligence in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I'm also the Chief Creative Officer of software company Galaxy Advisors, which is the developer of the tool CONDOR. It is headquartered in Switzerland, where I'm recording this video right now. In the next 5 minutes, I will be very happy to show you the features of CONDOR. CONDOR makes sense of large amounts of interaction data. It analyzes data on 3 levels: on the global level, on the organizational level, and on the individual level. On the global level, it takes data from the internet through the Google Search API, from blogs and web pages, Facebook data, it takes Twitter data, it takes Wikipedia data, and constructs social networks and semantic networks. It takes organizational data, mostly through email, but also through Yammer and other organizational interaction archives, to look at what organizations are doing. And then it also takes individual data, small team data, of people interacting with each other and collecting the data through sociometric badges that people wear around their necks. CONDOR has a series of fetchers that collect the data. It has an email fetcher that behaves like an email client. It has a Facebook fetcher that collects the Facebook network. It has a web search fetcher that through the Google Search API takes links between web pages and contents of web pages. It has a Twitter fetcher that takes data from the Twitter Search API and Streaming API. And it has a Wikipedia fetcher which constructs Wikipedia networks based on the link structure of Wikipedia pages, and then loads all of this into a MySQL database. Let's now look at CONDOR in action. I'm starting CONDOR from the command line, and it's now initializing the MySQL database connection. I have to log in into my database, which I'm doing right now into my local server. Now I open first a database, and inside a database I can have different data sets. I'm taking right now a database which I have already preloaded from my own mailbox, and inside that database I open one particular data set with some emails that I have also already loaded. And when I open the dataset, I have the option of filtering down by date, selecting a shorter time range, or I can filter by content, further restricting the emails I'm loading. I can also restrict the numbers of people I'm loading. In this case, I'm taking everybody. And now I have the static view that I'm opening up first. It will show me the social network, so I'm making a little bit more space here on both sides, zooming out a little bit. I can now calculate a series of network metrics through the annotate function. I can calculate betweenness centrality, degree centrality, closeness centrality, which I'm doing right now. I can now size by betweenness centrality, and that will tell me who the most important people are. Dragging the mouse over it, I'm the most central person here, it seems. I can color by domain name, for example. So we have this yellow org cluster here. We have the edu cluster for my mit.edu email address. And now I can also look at the content and calculate the sentiment. I can annotate by language. I'm taking here just the subject line, for example, and I'm adding emotionality and complexity. CONDOR has built in a series of languages: English, Spanish, French, German. And now I can look at the word cloud, and it will tell me who the most important words are. As this project is about UMI-IBD, not surprisingly, that's the most central one. When I click on a certain word, I will get the word usage in the context. So we have 31 positive messages, 48 neutral, and 11 negative ones about UMI IBD. I could have done the same analysis for the content, not just the subject. I can also look at how things change over time. I can look at sentiment over time, and it will tell me how positive or negative people were talking about in a certain time period here. I can add emotionality, and could also look at the complexity of the language. There isn't much here. I can now go back and annotate also by contribution index, for example, which measures how much of a sender or a receiver somebody is. So here I'm now bringing up the actor scatter plot and looking at total messages sent and received on the x-axis, and contribution index, which measures how much of a sender, that would be a 1, or a receiver, -1 on the y-axis somebody is. I am here very much on the y-axis receiver, because obviously I didn't include my sent folder. So the most active person here is Sophia, and then there are other active people here. Dragging the mouse over it will tell me who they are. I could also look at how positive people are by looking at average sentiment. And then I would see that Sophia and Peter are pretty well balanced, slightly positive. 0.5 sentiment would be neutral. So we have a total of 420 messages, and we are slightly positive. Here we have somebody who is extremely positive, but doesn't send so much emails, Sammy Kennedy. Finally, I'm looking at the dynamic movie, which I have to create first. So I'm calling up the dynamic view. I'm now just taking a time interval of always the last 60 days and sliding that along the time axis from April 16th to June 19th, 2014. And it will now calculate the notes, and now I can speed up the movie and just play it back and see what happens. This will tell me, I'll also zoom out a little bit, when there is most action. I can stop the movie and size the notes by betweenness. I can again color the notes. Let's choose domain this time. And now it keeps on playing. And I will see when new people are joining and old ones are leaving. And I have here myself in the center, and other groups popping up, coming and leaving. I'm now looking at another part of the infosphere. I am creating a new data set to look at some Twitter data about Crohn's disease. So I'm creating the data set first, and now I am calling up the Twitter fetcher, and I will just collect the tweets about Crohn's that have been the last 2000 active or have been tweeted over the last 10 days. I will connect them with the search term, and now it's calling up my tweets, collecting them, inserting them into the database. And now I can look at them. I can just create a static view, and the big term in the center, I will annotate it again. I will first calculate betweenness, and if I size by betweenness, let's see who the most central term is here. Or I can also look at who is the most popular person, who has the most followers, and here we have those few people. We can look at what they are tweeting by just clicking on the line, and here is their tweet. So here John is talking about teenage drinking in Massachusetts. We could again create movies, we could again look at content. So for now, let's just color here by where tweets are coming from. So here we have Eastern US, we have London, and so on. About Condor. Now let's get back to what we can use Condor for. Condor has been developed for creating coins, collaborative innovation networks, which means doing two things: cool hunting and cool farming. Cool hunting means finding the cool trends by finding the most influential people, and that's what we have seen. Cool farming means increasing collaboration between people, and that's done by what we call virtual mirroring, which means showing the communication network, mirroring it back to the people that are involved into the communication. A key function of Condor is calculating the 6 honest signals of communication. It measures centrality of a person, how between or degree what degree a person has, rotating leadership, how much the network position changes over time, measured as local maxima and minima in the betweenness curve. It measures honest sentiment, which measures positivity and negativity and emotionality of a person, a group, and an entire network. It measures weighted variance in contribution index, how much of a sender or receiver somebody is. It measures how responsive somebody is, measured as average response time and number of nudges it takes. And it measures innovativeness of language, how influential somebody or a group is by using and introducing new words. Those 6 variables have high predictive capability and are then used in cool farming by first calculating the structure of a network, second, measuring those 6 honest signals of communication, third, calibrate the 6 honest signals of communication, for example, with a regression against a dependent variable, which is a performance metric of the network, and finally coming up with recommendation of how one can improve the functioning or the performance or the creativity of a particular network. You can download Condor from guardian.galaxyadvisors.com/guardian. After having signed up, you will get a trial key, which gets you Condor for 2 weeks. You can, if you are an academic, request a free academic license, or you can contact us for a commercial license. If you would like to know more about Condor, you will find a lot of information on the 3 books: Swarm Creativity, Cool Hunting, and Cool Farming. And there is also an annual conference, the next one next spring in Tokyo, where you will learn about a lot of uses of Condor. So please come, join us, and try Condor out. We would love to hear from you.